What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Today, I'm joined by George Lockhart. I'll just give you a brief background on who George is. George is a fight nutrition specialist who is most well known for his work with UFC champs Conor McGregor and George St. Pierre, as well as the boxing king Tyson Fury. Lockhart has coached hundreds of UFC fighters in nutrition and weight management, a lot of them who are world champions. In addition to his work with the UFC, Lockhart is also involved with promotions such as Bellator and other sports such as boxing. He's also a former United States Marine and was even awarded a medal for the nutrition plans he provided the Army with. His approach to diet and cutting weight for fighters and grapplers has drastically changed the world of martial arts. George is the co-owner of his consultation company, Lockhart and Leith. This guy is definitely an uncommon individual, and it's such an honor to have you on the podcast today.
Bro, I appreciate that. Everything was correct except GSP. I didn't work with GSP.
Oh,
I
you
did do a
did?
reload with them. Just that was it. But I never worked like a weight cut or anything. It was a
Oh,
one-time deal. Yeah.
oh, my bad.
Dude, I appreciate it. That was like the coolest introduction ever. I'm like, hey, you make me feel like a stud here.
Oh, you are a stud, George. Yeah, no worries.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, so I like to ask this question to all my guests. What was your upbringing like?
Oh, it's I didn't know how unusual it was. I was raised in a town of 1,500 people. My high school had like 180 kids, and I didn't have running water growing up. Like my dad had to haul water every week, and I thought that was normal. And my dad was a Marine, and I always wanted to join the Marine Corps. So when I joined the Marine Corps, it was a shocker. It was like, whoa, big eye opener, man. But to the world, but it was good. It was really good upbringing. Had amazing parents. But yeah, running around in the woods a lot and living in the mountains. Like my hometown, like I think Aspen, Colorado is 4,000 feet up. My hometown is 8,000. Oh, hold on. Yep. Sorry about that.
Is that
All
is that
about
Billy
weight.
Joe?
What's that?
Is that Billy Joe Saunders?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. When did you actually get into like nutrition and that? I know you mentioned you joined the Marines. Was it when you were in the Marines you got into nutrition?
It was actually when I was young. Like I was morbidly obese growing up. When I was 12, I was about 200 pounds. So I started learning about nutrition, started losing weight, and I just got obsessed with it. It was because that I self-taught myself, but I was self-taught in the Marine Corps that they actually picked me to actually go and teach nutrition. So it was cool. And then once that happened, I became the combat specialist for the Marine Corps. They actually sent us all over the place to like different seminars, different, like we went to the Olympic Training Center with TSAC and PI in Florida. So it was awesome. It was a great experience.
Yeah, that's class. When did you know that you wanted to work with like martial art people, like people in the UFC and stuff like that? Because I know you were a pro fighter yourself, right?
Like, yeah, that was a pro fighter. And, I always wanted it was all about me, fighting. And then I helped out a buddy, Brian Stan, who I'm sure everybody knows about, he won the WC world title. And then they got bought out by the UFC. So he was 205. And the UFC, he wasn't doing so well just because he didn't have the reach that the guys had, at that division. So I told him, I was like, you should cut to 185. Anyway, he asked for a little bit of help, helped him out. And then the next fight that I went to, he's like, dude, could you help my buddy out? And it was Johnny Bones Jones. I was like, sure. And at the time, I had no idea who he was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I helped Johnny Bones, and then it just kind of trickled from there, man. And then next thing you know, like we're working with everybody.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. What would you say has been like the biggest myth when it comes to like weight cutting or anything like that?
Biggest myth. I'd say I wouldn't say myth necessarily as an error. Like a lot of people, they think that you have to be at a caloric deficit, meaning like you have to starve yourself during a weight cut. And the thing is like to lose weight, to lose 1 pound, you have to be at a deficit of 3,500 calories, right? So let's just say, for instance, you had a guy that had to cut 10 pounds. that means that he'd have to be at a deficit of 35,000 calories. Even if he didn't eat all week, he still wouldn't make weight, or she wouldn't make weight. It's not the calories, it's all water. Like that's what people need to understand, that it's a water cut. You need to feed your fighters. Fighters need to be eating to actually fuel you for the actual cut itself. The biggest problem.
Yeah, because I know you say that calorie, the definition of calorie is energy, right? And that's where a lot of people make a mistake. They cut down the calories, which means they're cutting down the energy, where in fact you need to actually eat more to have the energy, right? But just cut down the weight. Yeah, I've definitely
Yes,
looked into a lot of the work you do,
I was
George.
gonna say, you've done your homework, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. What's it like, when you get a phone call to work with Conor McGregor, to work with Tyson Fury, at the moment you're working with Billy Joe Saunders. What's that whole process like? Because I know those people are uncommon themselves, right? The mindset they have is crazy.
Yeah, no, so when I got the phone call for Conor, I just did an interview for Chris Cyborg on the Air Hawani show, and it was John Kavanaugh that called me, and he was just like, just asking me questions and stuff like that, just to make sure it's the right fit. And then with Tyson, it was funny because I had never actually watched boxing. Like I wasn't, into it and stuff like not that I wasn't into it. Like if you ask me most UFC fighters, I still wouldn't know. I'm like obsessed with what I do, not necessarily like the fighter. Like when I get a fighter, I want to make them feel the best they can.
Yeah.
But I actually knew who Tyson Fury was when they called, and I'm like, dude, I want to go work with this guy. I seen him on Rogan. He seems like a good guy. And then sure enough, man, I went out there, we hit it off, and we're getting ready to rock and roll, hopefully for the next fight.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is there a difference between UFC fighters and boxers when it comes to weight cutting, or is it
Huge
similar?
difference, bro. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Like a UFC fighter is like, I was like, we only got 30 pounds to go. A boxer will be like, I have 5 pounds. Do you think I can make it? You're like, bro, it's a burp and a hiccup, man. But
Yeah.
weight cutting isn't as relevant in boxing. You don't have a huge advantage if you're way heavier as a boxer, whereas in MMA, wrestling, and everything else, you have a huge advantage.
Yeah, yeah. Was there ever a time where someone's come up to you, like a UFC fighter, and they're like, I need to cut, 30 pounds, and you're like, you're not gonna make it. Straight away, you're not gonna make it.
So I don't say that to them, because here's the thing: they're gonna try no matter what,
Yeah.
and I don't want to put that in their head. So I knew in my head that they weren't gonna make it, but I wanted to be there to be like, hey, we got to stop this. We got to cut this short. You know what I'm saying? For safety reasons, because I've been in camps where they're like trying to keep going, and I'm like, dude, he ain't got the water to lose, man. Like it is all she wrote. So yeah, like I have definitely, but I've never actually told a fighter. I knew in my head, like, but it's funny because there's sometimes in my head I'm like, they're not gonna make it,
Yeah.
and then they make it. You're like, holy crap! All right, there's a reason I don't say that.
Yeah, no, of course. I know when you were on Rogan, you mentioned the Yoel Romero story where, he missed by 0.2 pounds, right? And
Yeah,
that's nuts. That's crazy how you guys
bro,
got him down from 200 and something pounds.
he was 217 pounds. Dude, it was insane. I was like, he was sweating on the way down there. We had so much time. And like, dude, if he would have finished that batch, he would have been on weight. I actually think that they ended up reversing that and actually giving him his the extra pay. Like they didn't take the 20% off and everything. So, and I was happy about that. The thing that I was happy about is that, he looked better in the later rounds. So like that shows like how our hydration was, like he had a horrible cut. And it's like a lot of people were like, George is trying to kill people. I'm like, dude, I got a call literally Friday. It's like, oh, and I was told he's 198 pounds. So I'm like, this is a walk in the park, right? Then we show up on Tuesday and he gets on the scale. He's 217 pounds. I'm like, what the fuck? So, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He got rehydrated and did good.
Yeah, no, of course. What's it like working with Billy at the moment? Is he on weight? Is everything good with him?
Yeah. Oh man, he's on point. He's on point. So Billy and Tyson, they grew up together. So I can't tell you a camp that I fit in more than Tyson's camp. You know, like everything clicked from day one. And it's the same thing working with Billy. Like they're super laid back, super chill. But like in the military, if you like somebody, you rag on them. And that's the way it is here. You know what I mean? So it's a good time.
Oh, I can imagine the whole banter, just everything must be amazing, right?
It is. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's brilliant. Are you actually living with them then, or are you like just living like 2 doors
Yeah.
down, living with them?
No. Yeah, I'm living in that same house. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's
We
amazing.
actually, I think I played pool with Billy today. Like we played. There's pool, there's shuffleboard, like all these games in the house. You know. And I tell him I let him win because I don't want to take his confidence away. Little Turk snuck up on me. He came from behind and beat me. I'm like, little rat.
Hopefully he does that in his next fight, his big fight, right, against Canelo.
Bro,
Can't wait to
dude.
watch that. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait, man. I'm so excited. I'm excited for him because, you know, everybody's like, oh, he's in the best shape of his life. Like everybody says that in their fight, you know what I mean? But sometimes you're just saying it because you have to say it, like legitimately. Like, have you seen pictures of him? Really?
Not recently. No, I haven't. No.
Oh, dude, like check out like online. Like if you get a chance, look on his Instagram. Dude is shredded, like
Yeah.
shredded, man. So it's good. And like I don't want to say it's all me. There's Greg MTK did his nutrition all the way at camp, so he just brought me in like for the weight cut and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's good partnership there.
Yeah, no, I love the work that you guys do because it's not just you, right? There's a whole bunch of you guys, with the Lockhart and Leith organization, and yeah, it's incredible because there's other people that work with other high level athletes. It's not just like yourself, is it? So it's
Right.
amazing. You're providing value for other people. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's the best because like we have like an online certification. We certify people, and like the people that have worked with us, like John Poppy's working with Josh Taylor right now. Tristan Kennedy came and worked with us. Now he's working with Conor McGregor. Jordy, I forgot his last name. He's working with Adesanya and stuff. All these guys got certified underneath us. They came and everything. So, whether they're with us or not, they came and got certified. So it's a cool course and it's helping fighters out, and that's all I care about.
No, of course. What I'll do is I'll leave the link down below as well so people can go and check it out 100%. It's
Thanks, brother.
amazing. Yeah. Do you only work with martial arts sports then? Is there any other sports you work with, like the NFL or anything like that?
No, I actually, you know who Jelly Roll is? You ever heard of Jelly Roll?
No, I haven't. No.
He's like a big time rapper. He's like freaking phenomenal. You get a chance when you get off, check out his freaking his music on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll is gangster. He's got like a hit song, "Save Me." Like this, he just came out with the new album. It's ridiculous how much this guy puts out. He was putting out a song a week last year for like the last 4 months of the year, but he hit like the top of the hit. But anyway, yeah, it was a transition because there's a guy that I used to train with in my old camp, and he was friends with Jelly. And the guy's like, why don't you just ask George to come help you? And he's like, there's no way in hell that he's gonna come out. And my boy Ed called me up. He said, George, you come out with Jelly? I was like, done deal, bro. So I went out there and started working with him, and he's an amazing guy. But it was a different scene, which was kind of nice. You know what I mean? So not as aggressive, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's amazing. What would you say, George? If people are like having junk foods and stuff like that, is there like a huge negative to the body when people are going through like eating junk foods? Or is it because a lot of people, they say when it comes to weight loss, like we mentioned earlier, it's about a calorie deficit, right? And they say, oh, I can just eat anything as long as I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm going to be losing weight. But is there a negative to that?
Right. Yeah, so that's a big, like when you're talking about nutrition, it's a big, like there's more than just like a yes or no answer, right? So if you eat junk food and you're in a caloric deficit, will you lose weight? Yes. But the goal isn't to lose weight. If I get a guy that's 400 pounds and he gets down to 200 pounds, but let's say he's 50% body fat at 400 pounds, and then he's 50% at 200 pounds. You just created a smaller version of their old self. The goal isn't to lose weight. The goal is to maintain as much muscle as possible while losing as much fat as possible. And that you can't do by eating junk food. You know, you can't outwork out a bad diet. So to answer the question, like, yes, you can lose weight eating junk food. But here's another thing. You got to define what junk food is. People, they're like, if it isn't organic, isn't this, that, like, I can have organic peanut butter. If I eat too much of it or I eat it at the wrong time, it's junk food. I don't care if it's organic or not. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing with everything. People have a definition of what, like, this is healthy food. It's a sweet potato. You just ate 3 sweet potatoes, man. Like, you're going to gain weight. So.
Yeah. I know you have a saying where you say that it's not where you are, it's where you can be. That's a saying that you have, right? And I think that's a powerful saying, because a lot of people, you know, they say, yeah, but I've made it, and you're like, yeah, but where could you be, right, if you did put that extra effort in?
Absolutely. That's the big, I mean, I've worked with so many fighters that are like, they're chiseled, they're, you know, like, they're like, man, I can get away with it. And they can. And it's like, but like I said, like, where could you be if you did? And it sucks because I never want to say I told you so to these guys, but a lot of them, their careers ended early because of injuries and things like that.
Yeah. Do you incorporate intermittent fasting into your programs? Is that a huge part?
No, I'm not a big fan of intermittent fasting. I'm a big fan of fasting, but not intermittent fasting. Like, we do 24-hour fasts to create autophagy, which is recycling of the cells, regeneration of the cells, you know? And this is it's a good thing every once in a while. We also do a 72-hour fast. Like, if you actually read into fasting, like, 72 hours is actually a short fast. Like, a lot of people that fast, they go like 10 days. And it's crazy because, like, when you fast, the first 24 hours, you're like, I'm starving. After the first 24 hours, you're not even hungry. So what the way of fast is supposed to work is you lose your hunger and you don't eat again until you get hungry again. And some people will be 4 or 5 days. Now, obviously, you don't want to do that without medical supervision. I'm not like promoting like, hey guys, starve yourself, you know, 5 days. But the way you do is like drink water, stuff like that. I just want to put a like thing with intermittent fasting. Like, I think it was just a cool way because most Americans don't eat breakfast. You know what I'm saying? So somebody was like, let's put a name on it because they eat later in the day. And it's like, okay, we'll call it intermittent fasting. And people are like, oh my God, I'm doing this new thing. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
That's fair. Yeah. And I know a huge part of your your program is the refueling part after someone's made weight, right? Obviously that's one of the biggest parts. What goes into that process? How does that look like?
So, no, every fighter's like, it's funny because some fighter amounts of weight starting Tuesday, they have different body fat percentages, they have different types of blood. So the more muscle I have, the more glycogen my body holds, right? Like, lean muscle tissue, 1 kilogram of lean muscle tissue holds on to 13 grams of glycogen. And every gram of glycogen holds on to 3 grams of water. So I need to know how much water and glycogen are attached to this individual, how much this individual holds. So if they hold, let's say 5 pounds in terms of glycogen and water that's attached to it, I'm going to subtract that by the overall weight. So if they do like a 15-pound cut and 5 pounds of that is glycogen and the water attached to it, that means I only got 10 pounds to lose in terms of sweat. So if I'm losing 10 pounds of sweat, that means that I'm losing 500 milligrams of sodium per pound, which for that athlete, that would be a 5,000 milligram of sodium that I need to replenish in that individual. And then it breaks down even more because, like, people are like, oh, just give me 5,000. If you drink 5,000 milligrams of sodium, you get osmotic diarrhea. It'd be the worst thing in the world. So we go really in depth with it, but we've had a lot of success with it.
Because I know, would you say that it's not good for the fighters to eat straight away then? Or because I know a lot of fighters, they drink a lot of water and then they get really hungry all of a sudden, and they start to eat a lot and then they feel bloated, right?
Right, 100%. I always tell people, like, it's like you have an upside down filter on your body. Your body wants the food, but if you eat too much, you're going to plug that filter up, you know? And it's like, oh, they're hungry and their body needs it, but it's like, you got to give it time to digest. A lot of digestive enzymes are in your saliva glands, you know, and your body needs that to come back. You know, your body needs the water to actually digest and push the nutrients. That's what water does. It gets nutrients where they need to go. Yeah. And drinking a little bit of water after you just lost 15, 20 pounds, like, ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Is there anything that you're working towards at the moment, George? Is there any goals or anything that you have yourself?
Oh yeah. We got some some huge news coming up. I wish I could tell you. I really do, because it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, I gotta keep this a secret. But we're about to take over like in a big way. Yeah, we're about to take over in a really big way. But yeah, we're gonna have a culinary cert coming out too. Like, we have our online weight cut certification. We're gonna have an online culinary certification coming out, and then hopefully a strength and conditioning certification later this year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
That's incredible.
Oh, and we also have the Tyson Fury diet is it's already out. We haven't promoted it. We were doing testing and stuff. But if you go to the TysonFuryPlan.com, you can get on, and it'll literally give you every food recipe, how to cook it, designed specifically for your body each day.
Wow,
it's really cool.
That's incredible. Yeah. You know, when it comes to like I mentioned earlier, you know, Tyson and Conor, is it easier to work with people like that because of their mindset? Because they're not like, you know, oh, I'm so hungry, I need food now. You know, I know how disciplined they both are, right? Is it easier to work with athletes like that?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, you know, you tell me eat 12 almonds, they eat 12 almonds. You know what I mean? It's like Tyson is probably and like I said, I did 10 years in the Marine Corps. He's probably like the most mentally tough individual I've ever met in my life. You know, just like blows my mind how he does it. But yeah, it makes my job super easy.
Yeah, I can imagine how much that guy must eat, right? Because of
you would think, man, no, man, he doesn't eat a whole lot. No, man, he really doesn't. You just sit there and you're like, wow, he's never. Do you know who Isaac Lowe is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Isaac Lowe, he fights at 126, right? And when I showed up to Tyson's camp, Tyson's like, hey, I got another fighter in the house. He's like, you know, if you have any leftover stuff like that, you want to help? I was like, dude, yeah. So I cooked for both of them. Dude, Tyson would be sitting there eating nice and slow. And I just like, within seconds, Isaac's done. Like, he could out eat. I guarantee you. I was like, how the hell? You got a 126er, and then you got a guy that's 280 pounds. Like, what? But we call him Little Turbo, man. He's a little amp, like he's a beast, but he can't stop moving and stuff. So he needs the fuel.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. Yeah. So just one more question now for you, George, before I let you go. You know, thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy, and you know you're constantly checking up Billy's weight at the moment. What would you tell your younger self if you could go back in time?
What would I tell my younger self? Oh man, God, there's so many freaking things I tell. So I'm on my third marriage. So I probably would have told myself to say no on a couple of them. But honestly, I wouldn't want to tell. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wouldn't tell myself anything, because if I told my old self something, then that would have changed where I'm at now, and I am where I need to be, and I'm loving life. I never in a million years, like, I thought it happened for a reason to get me where I am today.
Yeah, 100%. Just sorry, one more question, George. I gotta ask you: are you going to be coming back into into fighting yourself? Because I know there was a point where you were going to, right?
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask: are you going to be coming back into fighting yourself? Because I know there was a point where you wanted to come back last year, right?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there, like, and it's funny because I talked to Tyson. Tyson's like, he's like, I'll box with you. He's like, I will train you in boxing. I'm like, fuck, man, like, how crazy would that be, man? You know? And I guarantee, like, me and Kavanaugh are like really good friends, you know, and I think he would corner for me. I couldn't imagine having John Kavanaugh in my corner and freaking Tyson Fury in my corner. But God honest truth, I just like, I'm going, like now I'm going, Billy Saunders fighting Canelo, and then Tyson's going to be fighting either Wilder or AJ coming up. I'm like, man, I got it. I have a family, so I got to go home eventually. You know what I mean? So I don't see it. I still got one. Like, I feel it, like, but I get to kind of live vicariously through all these fighters. You know what I'm saying? When they're in the ring, I was a small part of that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, of course. And what you do is, you're at the top of what you do, and if you stick to that, you'll stay at the top, of course. But yeah, thank you so much, George. Honestly, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you've done. What I'll do, guys, I'll leave all of George's social media down below. Go and check him out. This guy is the best at what he does. But yeah, thank you so much again, George. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Take it easy, right? Thank you.